something, I think, on USA, Nick, called Night Flight that had videos overnight on USA.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
And do you remember Rhonda Shear, Up All Night?
Yeah.
God-awful Gilbert Godfrey movies.
Boy, I'll tell you what, though. He is terrible, Gilbert Godfrey, but I'll never forget. Howard Stern had him on when I was in college, and he was on for an entire week, and I skipped that whole week of classes at college and sat in the car and listened in the parking lot of my college to Gilbert Godfrey and Howard Stern because it was so funny. And he's a goof, that Gilbert Godfrey.
Talented guy, made a career of, just absolute silliness. But another 80s person that you definitely know who Gilbert Godfrey, think about it, household name. My mom knows who Gilbert Godfrey did, even though his comedy was, horrible. I think Police Academy when I think Gilbert Godfrey.
He wasn't in that, though.
No, I know he wasn't. I know he wasn't, but that's the kind of comedy. What big movie was he in? Was he in...
Nothing. He wasn't in anything big. He was always in those late night, semi on the borderline of being R-rated to low-grade porn horror.
Right.
He was always on those.
He was always in those movies you're saying, Nick, when you had the scrambled cable as a kid.
Yeah. Oh, God, I forgot about that.
Remember that? You'd sit at the edge of your bed, and your parents would be in bed, and you'd mess around with the dial and go,
sure.
I think there's a boob there. I think, Oh, the 80s. The things we did, Nick, the things we did in the 80s. But they were great times. And really, I think back to the 80s, and when I go to the Beats and Eats Facebook group, if anybody sees my postings, it's like my mind at work. It's like my memories at work from that decade. And I need to get to the 90s, Nick. I need to get, you know what? The 90s was my first real working decade, and I worked television, and I was bombarded by media, as you can imagine. But I don't have the memories of the 90s that I do the 80s. I think I posted something the other day from the 90s, Baywatch Nights. Do you remember that show?
Yeah, of course I do.
The short-lived Baywatch Nights. And then one of my all-time favorite shows, which was considered risque at the time on our channel after I did the news, Nick, was Silk Stockings.
Silk Stockings.
Do you remember Silk Stockings? It had Mitzi Capture and Bob Estes. They were like private investigators, very sexy. Yeah. It's kind of fun.
I do remember it. I do.
It's just funny what we consider racy.
Yeah.
Or what we did consider racy.
Yeah. And I think, to a certain extent, MTV launched, all this broad cable television to where it went from 12 channels to 24 to 42, and now we have God knows how many on cable television, and I think that it was along with that.
What's stunning, Nick, is like last night, I'm with Michelle and her mother, who's here visiting, and we're on the couch. It's 9 o'clock at night. We must have, seriously, a gazillion channels. And that's probably underestimated. We have so many channels, so much on demand, Netflix, you name it, and we'll sit there and look at each other and say to us, what the hell are we going to watch tonight?
Yeah, what are we going to watch? Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I spend so much time surfing. As a matter of fact, I hate Directv, but Directv, potential sponsor, I'm glad. But Directv has one option that I do like, and it's got a favorites option where you can put 9 of your favorite channels in there, and it's also got an option where you could create your own viewing guide, so you could eliminate as many channels as you want. So, like in my bedroom, I only have 30 channels. I probably miss a lot. MTV is not one of those 30 channels, but I customize it for myself. I could find more to watch than when I'm in my living room where I have 800 channels. It's just too much.
It's too much. It's like going into, let's say, a fast food restaurant, and when you see one of those, not that we eat a lot of fast food, we've talked about this before, but when you walk into a fast food restaurant and you see so many choices, and it doesn't become fast food. Right.
I'll tell you what, it's not fast food.
No.
You really do have to wait, and it's junk.
Do you guys have In-N-Out Burger in Pennsylvania?
We do in PA, but not in my area. I've been to one before.
People love it. I don't know why. It's a good product, but I was in Gilroy, California once on a trip on Interstate 5. Fast food. Took me a half hour.
Yeah, I'm
burger and fries, half hour.
I'm telling you.
That's absolutely nuts. And so getting back to what we were talking about, which was that you have so many choices on TV that it's almost overload. And anymore, Nick, thank God for the DVR. I have like 5 or 6 series that I record, and that's it.
Well, I am so pissed off at myself because I did not record the current season of Breaking Bad, and I am now finished with all of the back. And, of course, we have that on our topics, I guess, for the second part of the show where we'll talk a bit about Breaking Bad. But I'm finished the Netflix this evening, and I am now lost. So I should have DVR'd the current season of Breaking Bad. It was just dumb of me not to.
And it won for, we can talk about this later, but it won for Best Drama last night. What I wanted to ask you, though, I have Netflix as well. I haven't watched Breaking Bad. The remote control on Netflix, the fast forward and rewind, do you have issues with that? I have a hell of a time with that.
I do, but you got to think of it like YouTube. It's buffering.
Yeah.
But it's not, it doesn't work. Like, in other words, I'd rather just watch it than fast forward it because it takes, I think, longer for it to rebuffer after you unless you're fast forwarding a really long way. You know, like I have parts where I'm like, did that just happen? And I rewind it and I'm like, oh, why did I just do that? I can find out when I watch it again. You know what I mean?
It just drives me crazy, and we're still having to battle. Oh, the Wi-Fi. I need to get a smart television. I need to get a smart TV. I have a VCR, not a VCR. What am I am thinking in the 80s here, Nick. I am in 80s mode right now. I have a Blu-ray player that has Wi-Fi. It connects to my television. And man, I have nothing but the worst troubles with it in terms of the Wi-Fi signal. So I'll be watching a show and it'll cut out. So I need to definitely invest in a smart TV so I can bypass the Blu-ray player. But then again, you got to have a Blu-ray player. Do you rent Blu-rays? That's another thing I find myself not doing of late.
Now that I have a Blu-ray player, I'd Redbox Blu-rays, yeah. Did
you see anything at all this weekend worthy of mentioning?
Breaking Bad, a whole weekend.
My God, you are obsessed.
I watched today. I haven't been feeling well, so I had to play hooky from work. I worked, but I worked from home today, and I watched the entire 5th season today.
The entire 5th season.
And now I'm like, if you can hear, I'm a bit disoriented and discombobulated. It's because I'm just stumbling over what to watch next.
Nothing can compare.
I mean, you know what, man? Ty, I'm not a big television show guy. I think you know that as you've gotten to know me. You know, I'm more of a History Channel guy. I can't remember another show I was captured by like this show.
That says a lot. There's some good programs out there. There's some really good programs out there, too.
And I took a poll of all my friends, what to watch first on Netflix when I got it, and overwhelmingly, everybody but you actually said Breaking Bad. So,
and it's only because I haven't seen the series.
You need to. I can't believe you haven't. It's all on Netflix. By the time you get done watching the 5 seasons, the 6th will probably be on Netflix.
We'll have to do that, and I did that with Mad Men and The Sopranos, believe it or not.
Okay, The Sopranos captivated me. I put this right with it.
Wow, that good.
That good. I think The Sopranos, it dulled out as time went on. It didn't ever get stupid.
Yeah.
But it got a little dull.
It got silly at times. I agree. I think the final season, there were some crazy episodes and where it just got a little out of hand, but great television. Nick, let's do this. We're expecting a phone call from Alan Hunter, one of MTV's first DJs, in about 5 minutes. Let's take our first break, and when we come back, hopefully we'll have Alan on the line.
Sounds good to me.
Don't touch that dial. Nick and Ty will be right back with more Beats and Eats.
Small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Welcome back to Beats and Eats Tirade. Nick Gelso, the Virtual Lounge, Monday night. If you want to get into the action, 347-215-7771, 347-215-7771. That was the Stinger. I'm sure you remember that one, Nick. The little Moon Man.
Of course, and they don't play that anymore.
They don't.
I do like the way they do still, I guess, pay salute to the astronaut, because the MTV Music Awards is an astronaut, isn't it?
It still is. I think
I hope they didn't change it.
I think they modernized the Moon Man a little bit for this year's VMAs, although I don't even watch the VMAs.
No,
anymore.
me either.
The only reason you and I talked about it
was
because of Miley Cyrus and that horror show she put on.
That and the NSYNC, which I ended up going over to YouTube and watching that, and that was pretty good. What's been the fallout from the Miley Cyrus, besides the fact that everybody continues to talk about it? I mean, has it been discussed anymore on television?
Yes, it has. And then the other thing that she came out with was the video for the song Wrecking Ball. And we talked about that with Lydia last week. And Wrecking Ball, where she appeared nude, covered up, of course. Mm-hmm. This whole video was just her on a wrecking ball swinging back and forth. And it was the most, I think, downloaded video or most watched video of all time. So while people said, oh, Miley, you're awful, you're terrible, on the VMAs, she's rewarded by having the most watched video of all time. I guess it just says we have this morbid curiosity about all things Miley Cyrus.
Or, people just want to get a glimpse of her swinging around nude. I think after that. No, I mean, I think after that, the VMAs, I think people just want to see. We love watching people on their way to success, and we love taking them down when they start coming down and making a fool of themselves. And I just think it's just the way that culture works in this country for some reason. We love them. We love the underdog, and then when they make it, damn it, let's watch them fall apart and celebrate it. And we've seen it with Britney Spears and a lot of others.
We love the comeback story in this country too. Mm-hmm. We like to tear people down, rise them back up, tear them down again. We like the roller coaster. I don't know what that says about us, Nick. I don't.
I think we get bored very easily.
The attention spans. I guess we could. I remember people telling me, adults in particular, telling me when I was a youngster that my attention span was ruined by MTV. My life was going to be a video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it makes you think of Footloose, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. Actually, what it makes me think of is Rocky IV. You've seen Rocky IV, where he goes to Russia to take on Ivan Drago, right?
Not my favorite Rocky.
No,
it's people's favorite.
And it shouldn't be, because I want you to go back someday, if you're on the couch this winter and it's on one of the networks, it's shown probably every day on some channel. It is, and I'm serious when I say this, like 5 or 6 videos, music videos, strung together, which would make sense because it came out in 1986. It's nothing but one long, I call it Rock Video 4. I don't even call it Rock Video 4, Rocky 4. That's how crazy it is. Nick, you there?
Yeah. You're saying it's 5 or 6 music videos.
Yeah, strung together. Yeah,
I remember that. Like when he's like doing his the typical Rocky training and all that, right?
Yeah, he does the training. He flies to Russia. That's a video. Right. Adrian screams at him. He leaves the house. He gets in his car. He drives off. It's a video. James Brown comes on. When Apollo Creed.
I forgot.
Apollo Creed fights Drago in Vegas. It's a James Brown video. I could go on and on here.
James Brown.
Remember that, Living in America?
Yes. Yeah, I remember it.
And I think that video was played on MTV. And if you're wondering where we're all going with this tonight, we're expecting a phone call at any minute now by Alan Hunter, one of the first VJs on MTV. Back when it launched, way back in 1981, there's a new book out called The Unplugged Adventures of MTV's First Wave, and Alan was involved in that along with Nina Blackwood, Martha Quinn, Mark Goodman, and I do